Greetings, St. Paul's Church. It's Sunday evening, and right after church, I caught a plane to Chicago, and I'm here for some meetings with my denomination. So my plan is to film the first part of this week's video here in Chicago, and then to film the second part in Salt Lake City. So my plan was to come here to Millennium Park, which is a few blocks away from our meeting. And in Millennium Park, you could see behind me is the Bean, which sadly is closed off. I think they're putting it on some kind of pedestal. But there's the Bean, which reflects the the Chicago skyline, which you can see behind me. And I noticed at today's Sunday worship that we had two baptisms back to back recently at our church. And I think it's just a beautiful celebration of life and life in Christ and new birth. And I have to admit, before St. Paul's Church, I was always involved with churches that were contemporary. So I'm not used to all the hymns and the traditions of the hymns and the liturgy. And I confess, I love that hymn, that song, Morning Cry. I love the fact that we sing it after every baptism. I love the meaning of it. I love the melody and the feeling and the emotion. And confession, when I first heard, when we first sang it, I thought I was singing that I was there to hear your morning cry. And then I realized when I looked at the lyrics more carefully that we're singing about that it was God who was there to hear your morning cry. And I love the progression of the song, that it was God who loved you since your first breath, even when you turned away from God, and then in the different phases of your life, and then towards the end of the song, it's beautiful. Even when you're about to face death, it's God saying, I am there, I am here, and I loved you from beginning to end. I just fell in love with that song and that hymn. And my plan is to film the second part of this video in Salt Lake City, hopefully get some iconic parts of downtown Salt Lake City. And I'm going to check out from here in Chicago, and I will see you in Salt Lake City. Greetings, St. Paul's Church. Welcome to part 2 of this week's video. And I am proud to say I am in downtown Salt Lake City. And it's pretty ironic because in downtown Chicago, I wanted to take you to an iconic spot in front of the Bean, but I couldn't walk up to the Bean because it was under construction. And today, I wanted to take you to the temple in downtown Salt Lake City, which is iconic, and how ironic that it is under massive construction and renovation. And I can't really walk up to it that closely. But that is the temple. That is what they call the tabernacle. That's a very beautiful bathroom building. Across the street is a huge conference center owned by the church. And maybe you could see some of the snow-covered mountains, as it was snowing here just a few days ago. And I mentioned in the first part of the video that we had 2 back-to-back baptisms recently. And actually this coming Saturday in a few days, we have two funerals connected to St. Paul's Church, both taking place this coming Saturday. And that really made me think of this whole cycle of life about how precious life is. One main reason why it's precious is because it's fragile and it's short, and there's a beginning and an end. And to mention that hymn once again, Morning Cry, the beauty of that hymn is that God is with us from our very first breath to our very last breath. And his love for us is with us. He was there to hear our morning cry, and he will be there with us until our last breath. And we really need to cling to God's love and God's presence in our lives. That's the only constant. That's the one thing that matters the most. And I wanted to add to that, we should really take each day as a gift from God. We should really live each day to the fullest and make the most of it and treasure each day. And that's what I hope to do and plan to do today and for the rest of my life. And let's just reflect upon our lives from beginning to end, and let's give thanks to God for every single day. Thank you so much for watching this week's video and tuning in, and I'm looking forward to seeing you this Sunday. Thank you.